Welcome everyone to HEARTtalk, coming to you live from Kota Kinabalu in Sabah in Malaysia. If you've just joined us and this is the first time you're coming in, my name is Dr. Charles Lee and this is HEARTtalk with Dr. Charles Lee. So please press that subscribe button. I want to hear those bells really jingle. You know, we're close to Christmas and I want to welcome each and every one of you for joining us during this lunchtime table talk session. And today is something quite different from the normal array of guests that I have. Now, there is a growing endless array of boutiques and confectionery outlets and cafes and you name it. They're all mushrooming all over the city here and I'm sure in the bigger cities like Kuala Lumpur. And these are all startup companies and the younger generation, which I call the sandwich generation, moving into this whole industry of having their own practice and their own, outlets. And my guest today is going to be something really different. He has a business of finding out who has a sweet tooth, and he's certainly found one in me. And because of that particular sweetness of the tooth, my sister Emily Lee, introduced me to. She said, "You got to meet this man called Edwin Chan." Who has a gift in what he does. And so I sourced him out and he's going to join us in a little while, coming to us live from Kuala Lumpur. And, Edwin is one of Malaysia's top patissiers. And he founded the online bakery called UNEDITED Patisserie, which is based, as I said, in Kuala Lumpur. The company sets itself apart with its unwavering focus on bringing an elevated experience to the way we enjoy, guess what? Desserts. Now this is the end game in life, when you have a nice course meal and then at the end of it, you have the dessert. And if that dessert hits your heart and goes right down within you, you won't forget it. You will come back. So let's not just waste any more time and let's bring him in, the one and only Edwin Chan from Kuala Lumpur. Come in, Edwin.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Dr. Charles.
Hey, nice to see you, man. I mean, you look all set to give us a flavor of lunchtime, man. Huh?
Thank you for the introduction, though. You made it sound so brilliant.
Well, you are the man on the spot. And once again, thank you very much for joining us on HEARTtalk. I know that we're going to learn a lot. We're going to taste a lot. We're going to leave a lot within us. But when you enter into some of these Japanese restaurants and Korean restaurants, they all have a song to sing. It's either "Gozaimasu," and you walk in, kind of like prompt up. For you, it is the Beatles song, "All You Need Is Love," because that seems to be your mantra, man. You've been enveloped in love. So once again, thank you and congratulations. As I've studied and just seen the way you have come through. You have really done a remarkable job and I want to congratulate you for it. So like all things in all guests and all that, this is a heart-to-heart conversation. And so today I'm really going to get into that heart of you because you found mine. You didn't find my heart. You found my sweet tooth.
Found your sweet tooth, not your heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
I'm yet to taste your goodies down there, and then I know my heart's gonna go.
only the ladies fell for it for the heart side.
Yeah,
for the guys it's the sweet tooth. Yeah.
That's right. So and the guy ends up paying the bill. While the ladies are having. Yeah. So I mean, this is going to be a fascinating session with you, because there are not many professions, Edwin, where so much of emotion is involved.
It is.
You see, because it comes from within. In plastic surgery, I'm a plastic surgeon. When people ask me, plastic and cosmetic, right? They always think I'm putting plastics into their face.
Okay.
Right? So I say, yes, I do. You can choose between Tupperware, cornware. But the word plastic surgery, plastic, it comes from a Greek word called plastikos.
Okay.
And plastikos means to mold.
Okay.
And cosmetic comes from the Greek word kosmetikos, which means to adore. So you mold something, you make something, you form it, and then you move back and then you adore it. And
Okay.
that's the reason why in our field there's so much of creativity, there's so much of artistry that it's the same with you. I mean, you spend all your time studying and then you get your emotions worked up and all the adrenaline and all the hormones are fired up. And then you put it into a small little piece and then the other guy gets the high.
Yes.
And right, so this is something going to be really interesting. Now listen, as usual, how on earth did this all start?
Like you say, it all comes from the heart, and you just start off, especially for me, start off young and naive, just 24 years old, from
Uh-huh.
my parents' kitchen, just
Uh-huh.
started baking and continue and continue and continue,
Uh-huh. No, but how did you get into that kitchen first? I mean, I can't even do a blooming egg, man.
I
So,
question myself too, many times.
there are so many
I
areas in the house to go to, and you ended up in the kitchen.
do. I
You
mean,
know?
before I started culinary arts itself,
Uh-huh.
I only entered the kitchen once, like properly entered the kitchen once, just for Mother's Day, just to cook for my mom.
Uh-huh.
Fried rice for, I think I was Form 4 or something like this. So that was
Uh-huh.
the only time.
Uh-huh.
But after SPM, I don't know what I want to do. All I know is I don't want to be in an office.
Okay.
I want to be working in my hands.
Okay.
I enjoy food, and
Uh-huh.
that's how it started. So it's a bit foreign, like I don't know how about you, like for you, suddenly you start being in a medical, you start to see different things. So for me, I see food, and I started seeing more garlic, I started seeing more butters, and it is foreign, but as time goes, we enjoy it more and more. I think you can probably relate the same way, right?
Yeah, but if I was a Chinese, I'd probably do cooking as well. But because you can't take away food from a Chinese person. I mean, that's their life. If they were to sample a bit of your blood, there's food there left.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe it's quite similar, So we just went on, with the hunt of having a nice food, what it's behind it, So that's just how it all,
Okay.
started. And I know I don't want to work in an office. Work with your hands. Work with
All
something
right.
that you like through your tongue. That kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah.
So how did the culinary part come in? I mean,
I mean, my uncle, actually, he's the one who actually suggested and highly recommended to do culinary, because he used to be a lecturer in
uh-huh.
UITM,
Right.
and he realized these culinary students, right? They no matter what happens, they'll still have a job. Like, during the pandemic, they still have a job. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
he so from his judgment, looking at the school of hospitality itself, right? So this is quite a good study, because he teach MBA, but he was suggesting to me, you should do this. We run a family run restaurant. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe he wants me to take away. I don't know, but yeah, that's his suggestion, and I just went with it. Yeah, just
Uh-huh.
to
That's cool.
embark
So
on
so
that.
that got you to the culinary school because
Yes.
when you talk to a Chinese or anybody doing business, right, and you ask them how do you do, how you getting on, they say cari makan. So I
That's
said,
true.
if you're working in the kitchen, why you want to cari the makan, man?
You want to cari more makan.
Yeah, more makan. So come to culinary school. What? That was 3 years. Where did you do that in Kuala Lumpur?
4 years, actually. I did it in Taylor's.
All right,
So
cool.
diploma and a degree in culinary arts and food service management. Yeah,
Nice, nice. And so during that time, those are evolving years. 4 years is a long time.
it
And
is.
another
It
year,
is.
it is a medical career already. And
Almost. I should have. I should
yeah.
have taken that advice instead.
No, 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 because then you would have missed out on what you're doing today. But this is because I tell you why. When we finish this whole time with you, you will realize that so much of you is in what you deliver. You see, and that is the beauty of life. At the end of the day, you can go to court, you can fight for a case, and when you win it, it becomes personal. Until then, it's always the client. Same with me too. I go on a high when I'm doing cleft lip surgery, And in fact,
Hey.
I found myself, my own self, while doing surgery. Because that's all your thinking, your creativity. So let me come to this part now. So while you were doing your culinary school work and all that, because I think we are common in the sense there is creativity and there is artistry. Did
Yes.
you have those genes in you?
Very good question. I mean, I probably have the eye for it. Mm, you're saying super creative. Yes, I do have super crazy ideas. Uh, Making it to an art is still practice. So I think it's a lot of practice also.
I'm
But
sure. I'm
most
sure.
important about the eye for it and to also practice and think beyond than that. I mean, any kind of art comes from something that has been done in the past,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
But
mean,
how do you make it into something yours? Like uh, one of these chef's quote from Thomas Keller. He mentioned a recipe has no soul. The
uh-huh.
chef bring the soul to the recipe. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Powerful. Powerful. That's why it's always a secret,
Yes.
because until you really taste. Yeah, I mean that's
It is
perfect.
true.
That's
Yeah.
very
I mean, you
true.
can get recipes all around, but it's how you actually make it really yours and you make it have a soul into it. Like you said,
Yes.
a dish is just a dish. A cake is just a cake. A macaron is just a macaron.
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
makes it so special?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, point taken and beautifully said. So you're talking about working up there, getting trained. You're in the kitchen, right? And I presume it's a hot kitchen.
It's a cold kitchen.
Or is it?
I mean, if you're doing pastry, it's a cold kitchen. If you're
Yeah,
doing
but during your training
savory
years,
food,
I'm talking about your training years, right?
my training years, yes, it was in a hot kitchen. It is
That's
also a
right.
hot
So you
kitchen.
become what, a sous chef first?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Why
then
did you stay there?
decided to embark to what I want to do myself. So yes, I was a sous chef. It was in a hot kitchen. I was beside my boss. So I learned his traits, not just in creativity, also in business. So he taught me a lot actually. Yeah.
I'm sure. So when did that first taste of something different that was cold and then became your heart warmer?
Wow.
So that's a big shift, for somebody who is frying kway
Yes.
teow in the hot
Yes.
kitchen or trying to
Yes.
do a dish, a steak or whatever.
I
Like when we
think I
go.
think my first love, if you're saying like pastry, right? My first love is actually the salted caramel. I
Uh-huh.
really like that because it's savory and yet it's sweet, and it has some extra burnt caramel notes. I think that is what I fell
Okay,
in
we're
love
going to come
first.
to that. We're going to come to that because I have here with me a box of a box of macarons by Kota Kinabalu's number one,
Okay.
and her name is Ginny Regina. It's called Ginny Bakes, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But when was that first? They always talk about that first love. You take that one bite and it soaks into the soul. When was that first bite? Talk to us about that. It must be a moment you will
I
not forget. I'm
I,
sure.
I actually can remember this
There you
very
go.
clearly.
Uh-huh.
My friend actually, he was actually teaching a macaroon class in a
Uh-huh.
bakery shop. So I went and helped him. And the first love, right, was when I tried that salted caramel macaroon. It was really something truly exceptional. Like I say, it's savory, sweet, and it has that extra caramel notes. It's perfect. I have never tried something like this before. Buttery. So that's what the first love is. And to continue that love, right? When you have that, you want more.
Of
So when,
course.
when I was in Paris, I managed to try Pierre Hermes Ispahan, the one with the fresh raspberry and lychee. That's the second love.
Yeah.
And that's why it's in our menu.
That's right, because it's very interesting, that when you talk about, and I will come to it soon, macarons and all this stuff, right? I mean, the French are people of love, the way they talk, the way they express, it's full of that ooze that comes into what they eat, right? It's like our asam laksa and all that, asam laksa. But when you talk about macarons and all that, so talk to us. Why patisserie? I mean, how did you get the name Elivet Patisserie?
Like I say, I was young and naive.
All
I mean,
right.
I always wanted to improve the industry in general. So it's to elevate it. But how do you make the elevate different is you put in the first capital of your name inside the elevate. So it's ELEVETE. So it's supposed to be
Nice.
Elevate by Edwin actually.
Wow,
But of course,
fantastic.
now it's not just me alone, it's a whole team. So we can forget about the elevate by Edwin, but you can put an elevate patisserie inside.
Yeah, it's like taking an elevator up to the top floor, man.
Yes, because we do, like the name tells for itself. We want
Of
to
course.
push the boundaries. We want to make sure we can bring something different to what the typical Malaysian has, you know.
Okay, yeah, because it's going to, and then patisserie is a French name for a shop that is, yeah, that does cakes and pastries. Is that right?
Yeah,
Cool,
desserts
cool.
to sweets. Yeah,
Okay, so tell us what else you have in your armamentarium. I mean, what's your pantheon of creative patisseries that you have?
we do a lot of crazy things. We have, okay. So back when I started, it was like 8 years ago. That's when the cafe boom kick off. So that's
Wow.
when they wanted something different. They wanted cakes, but they wanted modern cakes. They don't want that kind of topping cream, that kind of soft sponge. So we started doing very modern artisanal Australian kind of cakes. So we have that in store, and we also have a very different product, which is the macaroons. And that is what the first love of how to do pastry, right? Because that's the hardest pastry item to do. So when I started with macaroons. So for me, right, at that age, how do you approach doing pastry if you're not good at it? You do the hardest one, lah.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I done macaroons like time and time and time again, and make sure you get your macaroons right. The rest will fall in place. So that was the
Yeah,
formula. Yeah.
that's
So
right.
we started off with macaroons, and we have cakes. So in cakes, we have different ranges of cakes. We have even towards the designer custom cakes, because our customers really like our flavors. So they'll ask like, I want some astronaut on top of the cake or whatever. Then we will help them to do it. Yeah. And
Okay.
any other sort of a lot more of anything that is under desserts, we still do it. We even do like traditional pineapple tarts during Chinese New Year. We do onde roll. Like we do a lot of crazy things. Yeah.
Okay,
You
so
need to see
so
the
let's.
magic.
I know, but nothing seems to be simple for you because you really make it really crazy, difficult. And the good thing and the challenging thing is that because you took a challenge, it's like in plastic surgery, right? It takes us many many years.
Yeah.
How not to do it? You
How
see,
not to?
not to do it. I mean, how not to make the wrong cut
Yes,
because you can't
definitely.
reverse that cut when you make
I
that.
think for pastry, we can still discard. You can't discard the customer's face just directly, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
You can't modify it.
Yeah, because it is really a discipline, and I think the reason why you have become so good at what you're doing is because you started with the most difficult craft, and over the years, and nobody can take that discipline away from you. It's yours, and that fine touch. I mean, we watch on TV, Hell's Kitchen, this kitchen, and we see all these people going around and putting a bit here and tuning there and all that, and it's fascinating because you know why something, Edwin? When we go into the new cafes and all these eateries that are opening now, it's all like an open kitchen thing. You
Yeah.
can see them really doing all the stuff and all that, and I wonder why. Does that kind of like stimulate the hormones even before the dish comes in when you see all these?
It's I believe it's just marketing, because people just want to see the human touch, like, so it's nice if it's presented nice, but if it's an open kitchen that is not presented nice, I think you actually is a
Yeah,
double-edged sword,
can put off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, the reason why I ask you this is because it's even more challenging for you because you're an online business.
Yes. So for us, it's even different. We want to put that human touch into our kind of collaterals or whatever you say, wherever we are present, right? We want to put more human touch into it because we are only online. So it's totally different. Yeah, it's a totally different approach.
And how do you do that? By when you say that, the only way I can think of is the taste, right? That first bite.
But the taste is one of it. I mean, that's when they already purchase it. But even before they purchase it, what's so special, like what's the
Yeah.
difference? And also, of course, besides aesthetic, we need to also sell ourselves.
Right,
in
right.
away in online, yeah, so it's
Sure.
totally different.
I know. I mean, I'm asking you all this because I'm a marketing guy when it comes to plastic surgery. And
Okay,
okay, I mean, we market ourselves, right? We're all the time selling packages,
definitely.
and beauty is our trade. But the reason why I ask you this is because Instagram and Facebook and all
Yeah,
that. You see all these people putting up all these pastries and all that,
yes,
and they may look really good,
yeah.
but when you get them, it's second best. You see, and
So
it's not what you see. So how do you overcome that?
I mean, marketing, it's a very broad spectrum, right? But most importantly, I think the elevate formula is like, for my formula is actually word of mouth. I mean, that's how I started off. uh if your product is good, the product speaks for itself. So it has always
Absolutely.
been this formula. I mean, no matter how much you market it, right? But if the person eat it and the next day he don't want it, right, that's fail marketing, right? But if
Right.
you have the right product, it speaks for itself, and people
Absolutely.
will spread it off to another person. So like for desserts, one person will serve to probably 10 people, and that's how we actually grow organically until this day, because we have no marketing team. We
All
have
right.
no we just don't have, but it's just been very organic. People just like it, they share it with their friends, and that just keep coming back. So if we want to go like all gung-ho with this, right, then you start spending your budgets and all this type of thing lah. But most important, the main formula is that I'm saying is the product itself. It's really important. I mean, the craftsmanship, like for you, if one person goes out with the wrong face, right, like definitely
Yeah,
it's
sure.
not going to be any more than that already, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the only time they go up with the wrong face is when they ask me for a discount. And then, and then you know what I say? I say, no problem, I'll do half your face first. And then and when you have your finance come back and I'll complete the other half. But while we are still into all this that you've got into, share with us some of those most challenging moments, because there are some young people listening to you and think, "Oh, I want to be like Edwin." I love his vibes, and he
It
sounds
is.
so inviting. Give us some of your challenging moments where
The challenge
you.
is to fight every single day. I'm
There
still
you
fighting
go.
every single day. But the most important thing is you really enjoy what you do. I believe in that. So as much as you're fighting, as much as you're trying not to give a discount, but you're still enjoying the process, I think that's the most important. Uh, I really started off with just 5,000 in my bank, with an oven, with a mixer, uh, serving, doing a lot of odd jobs, such as serving your sister. Yeah, I serve her for catering. So back then there was no Grab, you can't just like open an app and you work part-time. You just like really work odd jobs and all. But all in all, you you got to have that passion. I believe so. Doing it every single day, and yes, you can question about it, but every single day you do it better and better and better. So that's the progress, and that's the step you will bring you to where you are. Because if you don't even take action, there's no point, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sure.
most of these young people, they always have that theory, they always have that concept, but they never put things in place, and they are always just comparing in the end of the day. But no need to compare lah, just do what you want to do, then
Yeah, I mean, well
things will
said.
things will get into shape, I believe so. And
Well said. Well
yeah.
said. I want to go. I want to press you on that because it's such a sole proprietary kind of art.
Yes,
You see, you give me a knife, and you give me a forceps, and I do the surgery, and that's it. It's my skill.
correct.
When you talk about your skills, how do you share it? Because I'm sure there are others who are also doing the same pastry, or do you make one big pot and then say, "Okay, go now, go roll it out"?
It is a challenge, of course, because like you say, it's handicraft, right? But like I say, if you have the right passion, things will fall in place. If you really like this damn old salted caramel macaroon, right, you will figure it
Yeah.
out, you will somehow die trying, So everyone that comes into to this building, I always tell them this, like, if you don't work, it's your own hands, if you're not proud with what you do, no one else can help you. I mean, it's just a
Absolutely.
very simple formula. Like you are working on with this product, and you let it pass it out, and customer complain, and you are the one who's going to be suffering, not me. So
Absolutely.
you must have the pride in what you do. I believe so. So when that has, I mean, it's the same as like what you say. I have a passion, right? So if you have that, then it's easy to be shaped. Everything else comes in place.
No,
But
it's
if you can't even go through that,
yeah,
you
sure.
can never train the person. Seriously.
No, it's very true because yours is a real art. You know why,
Yeah.
Edwin? When I see them in the other kitchens and all that, the guy is tasting a bit. Put a bit more of this. Put a bit more of this, right? But when a cake comes out and you bite it, yeah, so nice. This is that. Yeah, I can't go bake it again, right? So how do you really like? I'm going to come up to macarons now and go into a bit of detail because I've got it right here
Okay.
with me. But your style of cakes, like what's the difference? European style, and then there's this style. I mean, are they all? Is it because of the ingredients or what?
Ingredients definitely, but I mean my formula will always be the audience. So I always work with products for Malaysians because no matter what you do, you can't fight that typical old butter cake that you used to grow up with. You can't fight with that old pineapple tart that you grew up with. You can't fight with that old pandan cake that you grew up with. So it's always about that. And I'm Malaysians generally, right? They have 100 menu item in the mamak store, but the nasi lemak sells. So
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we, we need to give that to them, like we give that a broad menu, but we always focus on what we do, and we always focus on what the customers like to eat, and we know where we are strong, and we continue providing that. So even if you want to say like all westernized, and you go and serve all this kind of really nice butter or whatever, but if the person just don't understand it, there's no point. Yeah. So
Right. Absolutely.
the same that what the Japanese actually really does is they go and figure out the Western, how they do all their crazy molecular pastry or whatsoever. But when they go back to Japan, they produce back what the Japanese like, and
Right.
that's how their cuisine grow actually. So I believe in this formula, and that's why Elevate touches a lot of like Malaysians. Yeah, not being a very 100% westernized. We only do French dessert. No, no, we don't do that. We do what Malaysian likes. That's the most important.
No, well said and well practiced. Because now, what's stopping you from? I mean, you're still online, right? What's stopping you from opening out into a cafe where people can try, and you get
Very
all those
good question.
lovebirds? They're coming in for they're coming in for a taste of your love, man. I mean,
I mean, I'm a chef, so we choose to focus on what we are strong in. So we have a production kitchen, and we just stay strong in the kitchen. I mean, we can serve people, but maybe not yet. Maybe until the team is really ready, and maybe when I'm less creative. I don't know. I still enjoy being in the kitchen. I mean, that's where my horizon is, right? So
I'm
that's why
sure.
we don't have a dining space. But if you want to come over to buy some cakes, talk with the chef. The chef will be here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm going to do when I come to Kuala Lumpur,
You
and
must, you
and the
must,
first
you
thing I
must.
can't, yeah, because you've taken a bit of my love. I got a sweet tooth. Now listen, in the remaining time that we have, let's have a romance with Lady Macaron. Okay, the name itself is so enticing. Macaron. It could have been anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to open this. It was sent to me by Ginny Macarons.
Okay.
And Regina is one of the top bakery stores here. I mean, she's fantastic, Regina. And I tasted this like 3-4 years ago,
Okay.
and it's only last evening, I realized, oh my gosh, I want to get that thing back again. That vibe
That
started
urge,
coming back.
right?
That
Yeah.
urge. This is a dangerous thing about having a sweet tooth. You can have 32 sets of teeth, but one of them is sweet, and that can be a killer. So, if you don't mind, I want you to take us through, because why has it remained timeless? This macaron until till today. I remember young, kids and all that. We used to treasure this thing because it's not cheap.
Yes.
Each one is like a bullet. You know.
when it comes to desserts, like a really good dessert, like a dessert category, right? Like macarons is similar like chocolate, right? When chocolate is really good, you can never lie, So like you say, it will forever have a place in your heart, like the perfect macaron that you tried, Probably some will be in Paris, or I don't know, maybe when you propose to your girlfriend and you ate that macaron, So dessert always have that feeling touch point, So I'm glad you have some ideas of macarons in your head, right? So the one that you're eating now, it will bring you back to that. And I hope that,
Yeah.
like, for us in Elevate, we want to make sure that when the person continue eating our dessert, when he continue eating the others, he will always think back about ours.
Sure, absolutely.
That's when
Because
you elevate the industry, right?
yeah, and I remember having it on my birthday about 3, 4 years ago. And one of my staff, Sonia Tai, she's in Melbourne in Australia. So I WhatsApped her yesterday and I said, give me that place, And she said, oh, it's Ginny Bakes. And I said, there you go. So it was sent to me this morning. So let's just talk about this love affair that started
Love
with you.
affair.
And today you are a master of this art. So this is your baby, right?
Yes, it is my. I got a lot of babies. Because we make a lot of macarons.
I can imagine. I can imagine what's
Yes,
happening
it
there.
is. It is my baby. It is.
But if they're
What
all
we
your
started off
babies,
Elevate.
yeah, but if they're all their babies, they got multicolored babies, man. How do
Multiracial.
multiracial, man? Now, if it is so beautiful in its taste and it's so exotic in one bite, the whole thing fractures in your mouth, It's, it crackles up. Why the need for colors?
Why the name for?
Why the need for colors? Why do you need to have so many
The colors
colors?
are just the colors actually. It's just to represent what the flavor is.
Is it?
So if you actually see Elevate's macaron, right?
Yeah.
The purple color one,
Uh-huh.
that's the salted caramel one. And that's my favorite color. That's why a lot of people don't understand. How come your salted caramel macaron is purple color? I said that's
Yeah.
my favorite color.
So this box that has got all these different colors, and I don't know whether we can see this, Mary, but anyway, you can see this one.
Yeah.
So the color signifies what's the flavor. Is that correct?
Yes. On a usual basis, yes.
So this should be strawberry.
It can be rose. It can be
It could be-
raspberry.
Could be raspberry. It could be. So you got to know what you're ordering for. All right. So let's just go into this. This is surgery. We're going into the operating theater because I tell you something. This is the first time. I mean, I've eaten macarons before, but I won't know what the heck. Number one, how to pronounce the thing, whether it's macaron
Have you
or
tried making it
macaroon.
before?
Pardon?
Have you tried making it before?
No, no way, man.
No way.
No way.
It's just like
This is
surgery, don't worry.
this is one love affair that I just don't know how. But I love the taste and it's sweet. But there's some of the chocolates till today I'll never forget. The Ferraros and all that. We love it. So it's got a crispy shell to it, right?
Yes. I mean, not super crispy, but it's supposed to have some crisps, and then it starts to be chewy.
So what's the history of this? Who formed this? Who made this first?
He probably made a mistake, lah. That's how usually. To be very honest, that's how usually recipes are created. Someone did something wrong, and then they realize, hey, this is good, They start selling it, lah.
well, that's how Botox started. Because it was actually an eye specialist group. My husband and wife,
Yeah.
and they were treating spasms of the face. People who got twitches.
Yeah.
And so they started to inject this particular thing called Botox, right?
Okay.
Stop the spasm, but they all came back looking beautiful and younger.
Oh wow.
So that was not the intention when they first started, you see. So that's the reason why we use it for wrinkles, because it relaxes the muscle and makes you look younger. So there you go. So this crispy shell, I've got it here, and it's made of what?
Almond grounds, meringue and almond grounds. So
It's
there's
not-
egg whites, there's sugar, and there's almond grounds.
So you
And
beat up
for
the egg white.
filling, egg white, you got to beat the egg white with sugar until
Okay.
it foams up.
Uh-huh.
Probably
How?
about 7 times. Yeah.
So okay, so yeah, so if I go 6 is less, and if I go 8 is too much. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. It's very
Hey,
specific in pastry, you know.
there are people listening in. They're taking notes.
It is true. It is true. 7 times. 7 times. So when it rises that amount, that volume, you actually pour in your icing sugar and almond grounds.
Almond
So
grounds mean
it's
ground almonds, no
yeah,
almond.
ground almonds. So it's
Almond.
actually really weird, you know, this dessert. Like I say, why is it a mistake, right? Because usually when you do a meringue, you want to maintain the volume. But
What's a
in
meringue?
macaroons,
What's a meringue?
egg white and sugar.
Okay, egg white and sugar
Usually,
is called meringue.
yeah. So
How many
usually
eggs
get
do you
that
normally do in
volume.
one? Is it a whole batch being done, or is it
A
one by
whole
one?
batch is being done.
The whole batch.
Yes.
So I'm going to in one batch. How many will these come out in one batch?
Depending on how big your batch is.
So normally for you,
The smallest can be 50, the largest can be maybe 800.
wow, I know. I read that you've done like 60,000 by now. Uh, maybe more.
Countless.
Countless. But anyway, so this is
Yeah.
interesting, all
So,
right?
so like I say, this cookie is really funny because you actually whip that whole egg white up, right, with the sugar.
Uh-huh.
And usually in a normal cake making process, you just pour in your cake flour, your structures and everything, and then you bake it. But as for macarons, you actually compress it back down to some certain form of liquid.
Okay.
Yeah, and then only you pipe it up like a cookie. So it's a really interesting cookie, and that is why it's not easy to master, you know.
I'm sure, because this is art, man.
It
This is
is, it is,
art.
it is, it is, it is.
And then okay, so you got this smooth, silky smooth ganache. Is that right?
Yeah, ganache, correct.
Ganache. And so that's the one that's in
That's
between
the
the two.
filling in the middle. So the filling in the middle, you can put in anything you want. You can
Oh.
put in buttercream, you can put in cream cheese, you can put in ganache base. The sky is endless lah. Can put in kaya.
Okay.
You can put in whatever.
Oh, is that right? Huh? So that's interesting because I thought that so if there's a name for this particular one. Let's say if I put peanut butter inside, it comes a peanut butter
Peanut
macaron.
butter macaron, correct.
So a salted caramel,
Salted caramel
caramel
macaron,
thing is
salted caramel filling. You put it
filling.
inside, it becomes a salted caramel macaron.
Hey
So
man, this is
this August 31st, right? This
Uh-huh.
year, Elevate we did nasi lemak macaron.
serious.
Seriously, I'm not joking. So we actually put coconut buttercream and I
Uh-huh.
cook my sambal. I put it into the middle and also
Uh-huh.
put the anchovy and the peanut. So the coconut buttercream represents the rice. It's
See, man,
infused
this
with
is
lemongrass and ginger. Yeah.
okay. Listen, you need another hand. Let me know. I'll come and join you. Now,
It's just presented in a different way, like I say, you know, but it's where we enjoy that, you know, that little delicacy can be an even elevated experience which you remember it closely by your heart.
absolutely.
That's what makes it elevated, you know.
Yeah. So the first bite is the
Love.
most important, right?
First bite is love.
Love, right? So that means your art must be going into the shell because that's the
Yes.
first bite. If
Yes.
the whole thing crumbles and fractures,
Yes, it's sad. It's not love.
okay. So I know who to give that kind of thing to somebody I don't like. So okay. So I'm gonna take a bite, and so the stuff that comes out on the side is normal.
If it's cold, if it's really, really cold, it shouldn't come out that much. So if it's a
Okay.
little bit warm, then the filling starts to be soft, so it will tend to spread out. Yeah.
Okay. And how long is it supposed to stay in the mouth?
Until you swallow it lah. Until you, I mean, the most important is when you bite it, then you know you get the sensation of the textures, and then the flavor. So if you're eating strawberry, you should be getting strawberry and you know like a cookie, but you know soft
Nice.
chewy also. Yeah, it's supposed to have that sensation. So it gets your hormones up, you know.
Yeah, I tell you something, man. You got my serotonin and oxytocin
Yeah.
going up now.
But that's
why
what dessert is supposed to be, you know.
That's
It
right.
makes
You know,
happy. Yeah.
it's the aftershock that happens. After that. But
But
Mm.
it has a lot in the background. I mean, besides just enjoying love, right? There is always the point of making love,
Yeah.
understanding what's behind it. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
not just the texture. I mean, the cookie itself, it's a real art. So if it's hollow, I don't know the one that you're holding, if it's hollow or not. If it's
No.
hollow, it's not well done.
No, no, no. It's
It
it's
needs to
it's
be
cool.
full.
I mean,
Yeah.
this girl, this Regina does the top class macarons here. I
So
mean,
so that's when you get that real texture. Like you say, if it's broken up, even you get the strawberry, is you don't bite
yeah,
it that kind of sensation. It's like you don't kiss a girl the right way.
yeah. I mean, that's why I said I started off with all you need is love. And no, this is why we are talking like this, because we are both of us are involved in this creativity, artistry
Yes.
kind of profession, where there's a lot of emotion that goes into that field.
Yes.
And I want to know. And now, if I'm going to have a macaron, what's the drink that's good with it? Coffee?
Probably because
I would have thought so.
it's a sweet dessert, right? And to
Mm.
complement it, a coffee that is slightly bitter. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
really. Imagine early winter in Paris with some coffee and the macaron. That's
Finish.
love, right? That's love. Yeah.
That's it,
So that's
man.
that that's the main point.
Yeah. That's why it's
The girl
called.
that you want to propose to will definitely say yes.
That's right. Yeah, I should have met you 40 years ago, man. I would have had different, I would have had different colors to it. But no, but it's wonderful to meet someone like you, because you're so full of, the excitement inside of you, the vibes inside of you shows in what you do.
Thank
And
you.
and I
Thank you.
think this is something. Please play this video recording to everybody that you're going to get married, so they know. So they know. And now, how do you give me a box so I come and see you, or I look into your website? How do I know what the flavor is like? I just go by the name.
Yeah, you go by the name, so you can actually see in the menu. There is salted caramel, there is salted popcorn, there is rose lychee. So it depends on what you would really like. Then you can pick on it. Yeah. So
And that taste is the inside part, the
yes, it's the
the
filling
sandwich
itself.
part.
Yeah,
Okay, fine,
and that
fine.
filling matures. The
Uh-huh.
flavor matures to the shell, to the macaroon shell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so this is something very interesting, because you have taken us into different moods for different flavors. So I hear that your desserts can fit the mood of the person.
Of course.
So so it's all been love all the while. But what are the other kinds of moods that you kind of like tailor with?
we have a cake called Midnight Sin.
Serious?
Yes. It's a chocolate cake. It's a bitter chocolate mousse cake. So like you say, the mood is supposed to be, like during midnight, you feel really sinful. You just want that chocolate cake. Yeah, we have such a thing.
Hey,
Uh
thank God you are in KL, man.
no, the name itself, like you say, is supposed to complement the mood, right? Like I said, if you are having macarons, imagine okay, if you're not in Paris, imagine you're in Genting Highland, but with that same, coffee, chilled, tea time with a coffee and a macaron, it can never be replaced. Such experience can never be replaced. So uh,
Yeah,
desserts
fantastic.
are a mood. So if you don't hit the right note, it's like eating nasi lemak and Coca-Cola. It's just not nice. You need to have
Yeah,
nasi lemak and teh tarik. It's just
yeah.
perfect marriage.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it's a marriage of the two, isn't it?
Yes.
And yeah,
The mood
congratulations you
comes
for,
along with it.
Yeah.
It's like when
So
you're
yeah,
angry, when you eat something,
absolutely.
like you want to eat that steak, it's always like this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is years and years of experience in this particular field that you're
And we have
able to relate.
talking about this mood, right? During Valentine's Day, we have two, I don't know how to count. I mean, it's crazy lots of guys. Guys are all just last minute, right? You just all come to the shop and like, I need a box of macaron. I don't know what mood is that, it's mood for desperation, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the way to a man's heart, they say, is through his gut, but the way to a woman's heart is through her own heart, is taste buds. You give her that taste.
That's why desserts goes to your heart,
That's right.
not the stomach,
That's right. Absolutely. It different pathways, huh?
In different
And
pathways.
and when you work with someone like me, for example, I have a formula called the love boat, and
Okay.
so there are certain parts of the body that you really need to fall in love with, and that one of it is the nerve called the vagus nerve, because that's the nerve that creates all the emotions and keeps you really, so you should have a macaron, we call it some vagaron or something like that. And but as a chef, right, and as we close now in a short while, is there any trait, Trait, is there any particular characteristic that a chef needs that cannot be taught?
Now, I think it's like what I just said earlier. Like, it, you need to have that love. It's just
Uh-huh.
that pride you have for whatever you do. It's something that cannot be taught. If you don't have it, you will never have quality products. If you have that, maybe competitive, you just want to make sure your macaron is the damn good bomb, then things like this can never be taught, to be very honest. It can never be taught because it's art. Like,
Absolutely.
what's art to you and what's art to me is totally different. But if you take art seriously, you will put it into your hands and create that also. I think
Yeah.
that's really hard to teach, because if you don't have that, it's a no-brainer. It's hard to even begin.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I had it down here called, a chef. You can't teach a chef. He needs a great palate.
But pellets still can be trained. Pellets still can be trained.
Still can be,
Because,
huh?
I mean, if you are young, like for me, I don't eat much steaks and all this kind of thing. But as I go into culinary, I know what's the perfect steak. I know what's Wagyu
Right.
beef or whatsoever. So we can be, it still can be trained. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
pellets can be trained, but the thought process and the idea comes from the person itself. Because if you like that, or if you don't like that, like say, if you don't understand the art, you just come out with another dish.
Right, sure. And so, are you a perfectionist?
I can't deny it.
You must be, because for you to do this, you must be like me, a deranged sense of perfection. That it's got to be this way. It's
And
got
he's
to
very
look this.
annoyed when things are not that way. He's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah. I can
How did
imagine.
this go out?
And well done. I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, Edwin. Tell me, dear, what about, they're coming up with so many types of gift boxes and all that coming up. Christmas is coming. So what do you have? Do you have something that you can close up with that?
And I will show you what my macaroon looks like for the Christmas mood, right?
Sure, and for everybody listening in, yeah, can I take it through the laptop and
Turn, 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 turn. Yeah, you can open
Ah,
that down.
nice.
Yeah. So we have a tower of macaroons.
Maybe take a shot of that. Are you able to record? I mean, oh, you got that. Cool. So, talk to us. What are we looking at?
You're looking at Santa Claus. So I mean, it's just our usual macaroons, but presented in a way where it's just nice for the occasion. Like you say, bring up the mood. The red, the green. If you put a white in there, it's like
Okay.
not so
So the
nice.
green is what? What
The
kind of,
green
what's the
is
name?
chocolate mint.
Chocolate mint. Wow,
Yeah.
that's nice. So the filling is it's
It's
got a
a
bit of
ganache. Yeah, it's a ganache
Ganache.
with a mint flavored. Correct.
mint flavored ganache. Okay. How do you get green color? What do you put? Some
Oh,
kind
this
of
is
dye or
coloring. It is food coloring.
coloring? Okay, cool. And so the orange,
This is not orange. It's red. I think you can't really see it. Yeah,
red.
it's red.
Okay.
Yeah, it's red.
Uh,
It's
uh-huh.
actually red velvet.
Wow, fantastic, man. So
So
you
you
got
can
red.
imagine the type of flavors you have. It's Christmas, red velvet, chocolate mint. Things like this brings up the mood. So it needs to be the right
Yeah, I
flavor.
know. And I can tell you one thing: the play with names, right? I remember looking at one of those macro. They called it what was it called? Fresh Charlotte. Sweet Charlotte. No, the
So
name
sexy, right?
sexy, man. Then you got indulgence. I don't know what the hell all these indulgence coming inside.
I mean, the name is supposed to represent the mood, like you mentioned, So sometimes you have that French elegant lady, you just want people to associate it with that, and when they eat it, they can relate it to that.
Fantastic. Well, okay, so we've done the macarons. We've done some cakes that you do. What else do you do? Cupcakes and all that. Those are just
We
run of
have
the mill, right?
cupcakes.
Uh huh.
We'll just go with something classic. I'll just show
Uh-huh.
you something classic for this next one. We have the log cake.
Wow, this is
Yeah, of course, we have
really
Santa Claus also.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
this log cake, it's nothing special. I mean, it's just a log cake. But how we make it special is the
Log,
flavor.
Log.
Yeah, the flavor inside the log cake. It's what is my love. It's salted caramel buttercream in that whole chocolate cake. Yeah. So
Finish.
yeah, that's the most important thing. I mean, in the end of the day, like I say, product speaks for itself. It's the flavors. So the log cake can just be a log cake, but if the right flavors, like I say, the chef bring the soul to the recipe. That's where you have
Yeah,
this. Yes.
I tell you, whoever you're married, right? I mean,
I
your
am,
wife
I am, I
is
am, I am.
your wife is so blessed, man. I mean, I can tell you, what's the bed made of, man? The bed must be made of macaron, man. you know, this is love. This is a love fest that we've had with you today. And so, what else do you have there?
We have. I'll just show you a tiny bit of this next one.
Uh-huh.
So it's actually a travel cake. We call it the gâteau de voyage. So it's a travel
Wow.
cake. So you can actually bring it in anywhere in room temperature,
Uh-huh.
and there is actually. Can you see the liquid flowing out?
Yes. My
Yeah.
goodness.
So in every cut that you eat, right, you should have that. That
Yeah.
flowy bit. Yes. So
This
we
is.
have three flavors for this, and there's
Uh-huh.
three different flowing flavor into it. So
And
it's
at room temperature.
yes. So
Wow.
if someone is coming to visit you from KL, call them to buy that for you.
Yeah.
That's the main idea
Yeah.
because this year the pandemic is everything is open, right? So people can travel more. So we have travel kits. Yeah.
Wonderful. What's the name of that? It's called Everlasting Love, is it?
No. we have three flavors.
Uh-huh.
There is a sticky toffee pudding. There is a
Uh-huh.
fruit cake. The fruit cake is stuffed with Biscoff.
Uh-huh.
We have a raspberry lime pound cake also.
All
But
right.
all of it has different feelings inside. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, you are one man all wrapped up in love.
Yes, I
And
mean that's how you get the mood on.
I tell you, this is no one needs to have stress, man. Just surround themselves with all this. But what about if I'm a diabetic, right?
Yes.
Um, are there cakes that can do without the sugar?
Sadly I will say not really. Just eat less lah. I mean everyone still needs some sugar. We don't have anything that is like using artificial sugars and so on. And I don't really believe in that also.
True.
But do correct me if I'm wrong and don't
No, no,
educate
no.
me.
No, it'd be
We
nice.
as of now, if you are a diabetic, you shouldn't be eating. You shouldn't be eating. Supposedly, you shouldn't be eating, but if you want
Maybe,
to, you just eat less. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure.
just
Maybe
try
take
to
out
get
the
it more
take out the
moderate.
yeah,
Yeah.
remove the sugar from the egg white and just call it.
It won't work because sugar is a tenderizer. So if a cake base has no sugar, it will taste even the texture is a bit like bread.
Ah,
Yeah, so
interesting, huh?
sugar is a tenderizer in a cake base. So it's essential. Sugar is essential.
Yeah. Listen, man, you're really one Edwin Chan, that everybody needs to
But
know.
if the dessert is good, you don't have to. It's not about the quantity. It's just about having that one and just have a good memory of it.
Yeah,
It's good
yeah. I
enough.
just, I just threw that in just in case somebody is listening to us and then say, "Oh man, I'm going to miss that," but they can still have a bit of it, and
Yeah, just
and
eat
let
things moderately. I
and
think
in
it's fine.
moderation.
Maybe just
Yeah,
go for a jog the next day. Compensate
yeah,
it.
yeah. Absolutely, but Listen, I want to congratulate you and once again thank you for joining us. Now, how do people
for
get in
having
touch
me.
with you?
Sorry.
How do they get in touch with you? Let's say someone
You
says, I
can
want to
find
go
me
and
on
try
my
that
Instagram. If you want to find me
Instagram.
personally, you want to message me personally, you can find me on my Instagram. It's Edwin Elevate. EDWIN ELEVETE. You can PM me there. You can find me through my Facebook. It's the same, Edwin Elevate. You want to find the business itself, Elevate itself. It's Elevate ELEVETE. On
Okay,
Instagram, on Facebook, or you can just Google Elevate Patisserie.
fantastic.
Or you
So, are
can
you
just
coming
ask
up with
Dr.
the book?
Charles.
Yeah, yeah. I will hire. I bring them all in a caravan, man. And you should come up with a book, and with all your journey for the last
You,
8 years.
I want to. I hope it can really. I hope it can be live one day. Yeah, I do have
Okay.
some ideas for that, but it
Yeah.
takes a lot, But I do tend to write down the biggest part of the challenge in while I was operating the whole business and everything. I do write it down.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it
I
can be a
think
book
it's
one day.
good. I think it's good because there's so many startup companies coming up, but they don't realize that it's the long haul. And your
Yes.
journey for the last 8 years has not been easy because
Yes.
but you started with a challenge first, and
Yes.
today you're reaping the harvest of that
Correct.
challenge that you started with. So I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to wish you all the best success, and and you stay in touch, and you'll be the first person because my sweet tooth you have taken already. And I want to thank Emily for getting me to get in touch with you, and hope that we'll be able to see you soon. So once again, thank you, Edwin, from all of us here in KK, and from Mary and Heidi. Once again, all the best, and thank you for joining us on Hard Talk today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My
See you in
pleasure,
KL.
and it was a delight, and we can feel the macaron kind of and so for all of you who have just joined us or just logging in, and those who have followed us so far, this is Edwin Chan, and he's the man in Kuala Lumpur. We'll leave the ticks and all that, how to connect with him, at the bottom of our posting. And if you're in KK and you want to get a taste of all these macarons that we're talking about, Jeannie Bakes. You can get this on our Instagram, Jeannie_bakes, and it's really nice. That gives you a flavor. So when you meet Edwin, you will be able to know more about the whole artistry behind macarons and whatever he does. So from all of us here, thank you for joining us on Hard Talk, and we will talk soon. And this time with more macarons